Yo, what is good? One of ones in the building. Episode 2, week 2. We're going to do this every week. 7 people, 10 people. Let's get it moving. Invite your friends, invite your grandma, invite your brother and sister, invite your cousin. One of ones is in the building. 638 members. Aiming to be the #1 wellness community in the world. We got 638 people leveling up. Reply guys are in the comments crying, and they can't figure out how we're doing it. We're beefing over vitamins. This is absurd. We're beefing. So we got a few questions right off the bat. We're thriving on a low vitamin A diet. We're thriving away from copper and other toxic metals. I might have to light some of this toxic incense to keep the bugs away. Bugs don't like smoke, and bugs don't like salt. So I hope you guys are salting your food and not this 80 mineral. First of all, can you guys hear me? Y'all can hear me, right? Good numerology book to learn. A good numerology book to learn is the Birthday Stars and Numbers. That's Gary, the numbers guy. Is the only book that he likes. But go to Gary the Numbers Guy, man. If you want to learn numerology, Gary the Numbers Guy is the numerologist. So let's get some questions going. Let's see what we got here. We're gonna do this once a week on Thursdays after Thor, the god of thunder. Did you guys know that every day of the week is named after a planet? I'm sure you knew that. Okay, so we got a few questions here. Right off the jump, someone's asking about creatine. I like creatine. That's why I do red meat. I'll supplement with it. I ran out of my jug a few months ago. I haven't re-upped it. I haven't re-upped on creatine because I'm just thriving on bison, sirloin steak, corn-free and soy-free chicken. We're doing soy is hidden everywhere. Soy and phytoestrogens are a huge problem. Someone asked about flax, right? Someone just asked about flax. Flax is a huge problem too. Flax is not a health food, guys. Flax is not a health food. Flax is a phytoestrogen. Flax has PUFAs. Flax can mess with cholesterol. Flax can mess with estrogen. Flax is just another thing. There's too many fads in the health niche. That's why we started One of Ones. That's why I started going so hard. There's too many fads. We were designed to be just on a simple, boring diet. A few tried and true things. People are doing too much. People got too many things in the mix, and it's killing them. Because the more things we add to the mix, the more things we put in our liver. And every day your liver is taking hits for you. Your liver takes the shots for you, guys. And the liver disease is the silent disease. So you're not going to know your liver's messed up until it's too late. But what are some signs of the liver getting messed up? You're tired, you're angry. Someone posted a study here. Let's see what we got here. How does this work? Something for you to peep, sir. What's that study? You will fall in love with bison. The Native Americans thrived on bison. How did the white man get rid of the native? They took away their bison. Now the natives didn't help them. The natives helped them. Once the natives saw that you could trade and get money for the bison, the natives started killing off the bison too. So we don't want to forget that about. You got to go back into history. When you look into the history of foods and the history of the world, you can learn a lot. Just like the tomato. We went from the tomato only in one part of the world, the Aztecs, the same people who were sacrificing children at the stake and the altar, to all of a sudden the conquistadors, they took this tomato and they brought it to Europe, they brought it to Spain. When the tomato first arrived in Europe, they said, that's a table ornament. They said, you can't eat that. That'll make you go crazy. That's a toxic nightshade. Fast forward today, tomatoes the most popular food in the world. most popular vegetable. If you Google the most popular vegetable in the world, tomato comes up. Tomato is not even a vegetable. It's a fruit. And it's high in carotenoids. And it's an inflammatory nightshade. We avoid tomatoes. And then the most popular food is probably pizza and Italian food, which is tomatoes with dairy. So it's got the cheese and the dairy. Hopefully it's not fortified. And then if you want the triple whammy, you could put the tomatoes with the cheese on top of glyphosate. And then you can get wrecked. That's why people are getting wrecked. So let's see here at another question. Someone had a question about copper. Let's talk about copper, because people are really, I saw a lady on Instagram saying that copper is going to reverse gray hair. And the funny thing about her, she had a head full of gray hair. And we see this a lot. The lady with a head full of gray hair is telling you to buy copper to get rid of gray hair. If she knew how to fix gray hair, why the hell is her head full of gray hair? This would be like listening to an obese person of how to have a six-pack. Okay, so maybe I'll share my screen and we'll get some copper. Let's look real quick. Copper and zinc. So guys, zinc is an extremely important mineral. Okay? Zinc, copper is a conductor. Zinc is the opposite. Zinc is calming and relaxing to our nervous system, right? Zinc helps us make neurotransmitters like GABA, like serotonin, calming to the brain. Zinc is important for the immune system. Zinc's important for fighting off infections. One of the ways you know you have a zinc deficiency is if you're taking a long time to heal, right? Zinc's important for the digestive function, healing the gut. It's also important to get rid of excess copper. So having excess copper levels drive a zinc deficiency in the body, right? I grew up in a home in New York with copper pipes. And the filter, we had a filter, but the filter wasn't doing anything. If you don't have, this is why we do reverse osmosis, and this is why we do distilled, right? I grew up in a home with a filter on the sink, but it was still copper pipes. I was getting copper toxicity my entire life growing up in that home, right? It's excess. So when you have excess copper, you're creating a zinc deficiency in the body. Everything's a balance. If you look at nature, the foods that are high in zinc are always low in copper, right? And the foods that are high in copper and low in zinc, that's a toxic food. Liver, oysters. So copper toxicity fires up the brain because it's opposed to zinc. It's an antagonist to zinc, right? It acts as a neurotoxin. Copper affects your neurotransmitter production, and this is why copper toxicity could be your anxiety problem. Copper is very estrogenic. It could be a hormone issue. It also could be the reason you have extremely poor stress tolerance. So don't go using a copper cup. Don't go using a copper pan. Don't ever isolate copper. And if you really want to get to the bottom of it, we do some one-on-one coaching. We do a blood test, a hair test, and we see what your levels really are. Let's look at this article here, the copper Moscow Mule. So people are doing copper in a Moscow Mule, and they're getting poisoned, okay? And they say, the news is exaggerating it. But after 27 minutes, the amount of copper leaching into the cup started to exceed 1.3 parts per million. That's the EPA. So if you're doing, guys, copper toxicity and vitamin A, what's good, brother? What's good, C3? What's good, Ricky B? So copper toxicity and vitamin A toxicity are going hand in hand. What is liver? All these guys pushing their beef liver. What is it high in? Vitamin A and copper. Okay, so copper, if you're out there doing a Moscow Mule, a ginger beer, if you're doing it with acidic citrus, that's going to leach into that copper cup. That's going to be more likely to give you copper toxicity. There's a study. Let's check out a study. Yeah. Look at this study, guys. Share screen. Ding dong doom. Can I just share my entire screen? There we go. Look at this one. Chronic poisoning by copper in tap water. Copper intoxications with predominantly gastrointestinal symptoms. So maybe you have celiac, maybe you have IBS, Crohn's, and your vitamin A toxicity plus your copper toxicity. Copper can induce acute and chronic intoxications in humans. So what does that mean? You could get wrecked by it quick, or you can get wrecked by it over a long period of time. Copper in tap water has caused a series of severe systemic diseases in Germany in recent years. Copper-induced liver cirrhosis. Besides cirrhosis, another type of a disease with predominantly gastrointestinal symptoms has occurred, which likewise appeared to be induced by copper in tap water. We found that the disease can even be caused by copper concentrations below the allowed concentration given by the German guidelines for drinking water. The data proves that copper in drinking water can cause gastrointestinal diseases, and not only the better known systemic diseases, copper-induced liver cirrhosis, copper poisoning must be considered as a possible cause of chronic gastrointestinal diseases in those countries where copper plumbing is common. So how many of you have copper pipes at home? How many of you have how do you tell if you have copper pipes? That green slime on the faucets, that green slime you'll see on the faucets, that's one way to tell. So loud and clear. Try bison this weekend. We got to bring bison into Europe. You know, we got to bring bison into Europe. Tomatoes ain't good, broski. Magnesium is one of the keys. But are you taking it topically? Are you putting it on your skin? Or are you taking it orally? Everyone touts magnesium. Not everyone's talking about putting it topically. Not everyone's talking about getting the pharmaceutical grade magnesium chloride, not sulfate, not sulfur, chloride. You ever take a Epsom salt bath? That's the magnesium sulfate. You ever get a racing heart? What is a B12 vegetarian diet? What do you mean by that? Copper to zinc ratio must be maintained. Too much copper, too much copper is the problem. Too much zinc, you got to be an idiot and just overdose on zinc. Don't, just because we're talking this talk does not mean to go out and get zinc and start overdosing on zinc. You can overdose on zinc too. The issue is zinc deficiency is an epidemic. Zinc and people who are shying away from red meat. Red meat is one of the most bioavailable sources of zinc. Bison is one of the most bioavailable sources. Bison has the highest zinc content of any meat. That's why we eat bison and level up and get jacked and have high T. It's just bison, baby. So if you're a bison eater, if you're a red meat eater, you're more likely to not have a zinc deficiency. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian and you're one of these copper whack jobs, you got to watch out. Is Alzheimer's copper toxicity? It can be. It can be. So let's look. Let's look together. We got the chronic poisoning by tap water. Okay. Alzheimer's, copper. Copper toxicity in Alzheimer's. Some studies suggest that copper toxicity may play a role in development of Alzheimer's. Increased copper concentration had a strong positive correlation with the formation of plaques in the cortex, advancing the progression of Alzheimer's. Okay, how does copper toxicity affect the brain? Copper toxicity can also trigger the following neurological and psychological symptoms: sudden changes in mood. There's a doctor, I think his name's Dr. Peterson, forgetting his name now, linked a lot of the people in jail with copper toxicity and zinc deficiency. Autism is a big one with copper toxicity and zinc deficiency, believe it or not. Evidence will be presented that Alzheimer's disease epidemic is new, the disease being very rare in the 1900s. Yes. You also got to look, guys, at Alzheimer's and vitamin A toxicity. You got to look at Alzheimer's vitamin A toxicity. This is funny. Low diarrhea intake. See, when you get to the first page of Google, there's no such thing as a vitamin A deficiency. Okay? No such thing. No such thing as a vitamin A deficiency. Let's look at this. The neurotoxic effects of vitamin A and retinoids. Increased access to vitamin A through fortified foods and supplements is an important strategy to avoid deficiency of such fat-soluble vitamin in humans. They think there's a deficiency, there isn't. However, it is necessary to monitor the impact of such practice on human health due to the potential risk of several effects classically induced by vitamin A, retinoids, carotenoids, which are vitamin A precursors. We're just winging this on the fly here. Even though vitamin A and its derivatives are essential during both development and maintenance of central nervous system activity, there's a considerable body of evidences showing that vitamin A concentrations exceeding that which is required for normal function of cells lead to effects including disruption of redox environment, mitochondrial dysfunction, and induction of cell death. All trans-retinoic acid, a retinoid originated from retinol, so that's retin A. That's the skin, the prescription drug that wrecks people, is able to induce oxidative stress in cultural Sertoli cells, right? That's how it wrecks your testosterone, which is derived from pheochromocytoma of rat adrenal medulla, which is in turn originated from the neural crest and produces dopamine and norepinephrine. Okay, so this is showing how vitamin A wrecks people's brain. Now, all trans-retinoic acid, okay, Accutane, brain problems. Because vitamin A turns into Accutane. Vitamin A turns into 13-cis-retinoic acid. Accutane, isotretinoin, vitamin A, can cause serious but rare brain problems, including neuropsychiatric side effects and increased pressure on the brain. These include depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, mania, impulsivity, emotional lability, violence, aggression, and psychosis. These side effects can persist even after stopping Accutane. Okay, Accutane, Reddit, horror stories. This is another one. Is there any truth to horror stories about the side effects? This guy, I have depression and horrible mood swings. Going on Accutane definitely made my mood swings worse for the first 3 months, but after that, my side effects went all the way. Everything from back pain to mood issues. Only thing I have is dryness now. Okay? So a lot of people don't realize they will trade the short-term success. The way Accutane works, they use 13-cis-retinoic. They use retinoic acid as a chemotherapy drug. The reason they use retinoic acid as a chemo drug is because it destroys stem cells. Point blank, period. Okay, if you have too much vitamin A in your system, which 1 out of 3 people do, that is converting into retinoic acid, and that is wreaking havoc on your system. Okay, whether it's thinning hair, whether it's dry skin, whether it's migraine headaches, whether it's photosensitivity, whether it's eczema, psoriasis, low libido, bad mood, irritability. There was a kid who took a helicopter and flew it. Yeah, look at this. Liver lover's headache. Okay, for all the liver lovers, December 28th, 1984. That was a great day. We wish to draw attention to dietary habits of patients with intracranial pressure that typically occurs in obese young women and is characterized by headaches. The nature of this condition is usually undiscovered, but is associated with a variety of disorders. We discovered 5 patients who ate beef liver at least once or twice a week. Several patients consumed liver multiple meals during a single day or regularly on luncheon sandwiches. Okay? They probably won't let us. Yeah, we need access to that one. There are more studies showing that, more examples and studies showing that liver is bad for you than liver is good for you. Liver, they call liver the nature's multivitamin. Multivitamins suck too. Okay? Why do multivitamins suck? Majority of them have 150% to 200% of the RDA of vitamin A. That's not even accounting for what you're going to eat. Why would they put 150 to 200% of a fat-soluble neurotoxin in a multivitamin if they know you're going to eat vitamin A foods throughout the day? This is how people are going 1,000, 2,000% of the RDA, and this is how people are quietly and silently getting vitamin A toxicity. This isn't a mystery anymore, and this is why we have to stop the fortification of vitamin A. At the very least, we don't have to all agree, because vitamin A is not a vitamin. It is not a vitamin. How is something that is used as a chemotherapy drug a vitamin? Can someone explain that, please? How is something that destroys stem cells a vitamin? How is something that Grant Jinru, 9 years, low vitamin A diet, his serum levels are at 0.010. The lab called him and said, "We're worried about you." He said, "Thank you for the concern." Nothing happened to him except everything got better. His kidney disease reversed, his eczema reversed, his night blindness got better. The only thing, by the way, the only bad thing that they say will happen to you from a vitamin A deficiency is that you will go blind. So Grant Jinru was so banged up with kidney disease and eczema, he said, "You know what? I'm willing to risk going blind." He's like, "I'd rather be blind and risk this." So he figures out that all these foods, these eczema trigger foods, he figures out that all these foods are high in vitamin A. So he has the simple idea to say, well, let me lower vitamin A. Guys, a lot of times it's the simple answer. A lot of times it's the answer right in front of our face. All these doctors and health influencers and gurus are using these fancy words, and they're citing these short-term studies, and they're impressing people with their lexicon. And maybe it's just as simple as the thing right on your label on your kitchen counter that is called a vitamin. The word vitamin comes from vital aminase, amino acids, proteins. It was about the macros, the essentials. Then there was a race. There was an arms race. What does that mean? There was a discovery. Who's going to discover this thing first? Hey, there's these hidden things inside food, and we think people are deficient in them. The research is funded by Big Pharma. The research is funded by the Rockefellers. I try to avoid the coppers already. Gang. Is ground bison from Costco good? Yeah. Listen, all bison, they can't shoot it with synthetic hormones. But when in doubt, reach out to that bison company. What's up, Thor? Learning a ton from you. What's your take on intermittent fasting? Intermittent fasting is all the rage right now. I used to do it, and the reason we were doing it and the reason people are doing it is because we feel like shit from eating toxic foods that are high in vitamin A. So you close that window, and all of a sudden you're feeling better. I think I might have to take my shirt off here. It's getting hot out here in South Florida, and for some reason I'm wearing a cut-off hoodie. So you hit the pause button with intermittent fasting, right? You're putting a pause on eating toxic foods so you feel better. Can fasting work wonders? Sure. 3-day water fast with psyllium husk and maybe some enemas to get jump started and clear you out before you make a lifestyle change. But you can't outwork the poisons. If you're going to open that window and eat foods that are high in vitamin A, and the reason fasting is making you feel good is because you're vitamin A toxic, right? There was a time where eating, you always felt good. If you're eating and feel like shit after, that's a clear indicator you're toxic. It's a clear indicator your liver's jammed up and stagnant and you have toxic bile and cholestasis. That's a clear indicator that you're potassium deficient. If you get tired after you eat, that's a clear indicator that you're potassium deficient. Why are you potassium deficient? Coffee, copper, vitamin A. Vitamin A is an antagonist to so many good things in the body. It's an antagonist to magnesium. It's an antagonist to zinc. It's an antagonist to B12. It's an antagonist to potassium. It's an antagonist to vitamin D. It's an antagonist to the sun. So yeah, intermittent fasting, I don't do it. I don't have to do it anymore. I can go without breakfast once in a while, but now I wake up hungry and I feel good when I eat because my liver's cleaned up and I'm eating clean foods that are nourishing. And as far as muscle definition, my six-pack is showing more. My abs are more defined than ever. I'm eating more carbs than ever, which is hilarious. And I'm eating more frequently. I'm more hungry. So intermittent fasting, I think the reason it right? The reason it got high, I'd have to go to the other camera. I'd have to go to the other camera here. There we go. It's too hot and I need a tip, guys. So who is now we're going. Now we're started. Who's my camera guy? I need a camera that doesn't overheat. That's what we need around these parts. So yeah, intermittent fasting, get those toxins out of your body. You know, if you want to do a fast, don't go longer than 3 days. I did a 7-day fast with water, and I did a 7-day juice fast back in the day before I knew better. And I think I was doing apple juice for the malic acid and for the gallstones and stuff like that. Oh. Yeah. All trans retinoic acid is also used to treat leukemia. Yeah. So it should be obvious that excess vitamin A is toxic to cells. It is obvious, right? The people who are arguing with us, first of all, why are you mad about imagine being mad that someone's saying a vitamin's not a vitamin. You're identifying with a vitamin? Go to the history of the men who discovered vitamins, and they did it for a Nobel Peace Prize. They did it for the money. They did it for Big Pharma. Do you know how many vitamin A products Big Pharma sells? Big Pharma has a major stake in vitamin A. Major stake. Bill Gates has a major stake in vitamin A. Bill Gates is trying to make a new banana, an orange banana, to feed Africans because their banana is not good enough. Their banana doesn't have vitamin A in it. So Bill Gates wants to feed Africans an orange banana with beta carotene in it, and then he wants to give Africans and Asians golden rice, fortified rice. So whose side are you on? Are you on Big Pharma's side? Or are you on Bill Gates' side? Or are you on our side? Are you on one side? Are you on Dr. Garrett Smith's Love Your Liver side? Are you on Grant Chenru's side? Are you on Anthony Mawson's side? Have you looked into Anthony Mawson's work? Anthony Mawson's work is incredible on vitamin A. And he's not even coming out and saying, I don't want to speak for him, but it seems like he's not exactly, he's a little bit, I don't want to use the word afraid, but he's not coming out saying it's not a vitamin. He's just discreetly showing a bunch of research of how it's destroying people. Vitamin A, everyone wants to talk about stem cells and let's go to Mexico and let's get our stem cells fixed. Everyone is having the wrong conversation. Everyone is trying to add something new to you. And we have to stop asking, what are we taking in? And the question has to become, what are we eliminating? And when we find out why we eliminated that thing, what did that thing deplete us of? Right? Vitamin A depleted us of all these essentials. Copper depleted us of the zinc. You get these step one, you get these toxins out of your life, you stop. And the reason, we kind of always knew a lot of these foods were bad for us, but we didn't know the why, right? People knew, oh yeah, dairy's probably bad for you, but you didn't know it was the vitamin A in it. You didn't know it was the vitamin D in it. You didn't know it was the calcium in it. Cow's milk has 4 times the calcium of your mom's milk, of human milk. You were only supposed to drink your mom's milk. And here's where I get people with a curveball. I'm eating bison and steak, but I'm talking shit against milk and eggs. That's a rare unicorn. What we have going on is a unicorn, because the vegans will talk shit about everything. The carnivores will talk shit about all of this. The answer is somewhere always in the middle, right? Republican or Democrat, round earth, flat earth, neither, hollow earth. Talk about that another day. Not vitamins, minerals, amino acids, proteins. Somebody posted an interesting article about calories today. They fed the guys nonsense. What if they fed those guys 3 steaks a day? I don't care about calories. I've never counted a calorie in my life. Now, if you are overweight and you want to lose weight on a low vitamin A diet, yeah, you can count calories and count steps. That's going to help. You still don't want to overeat. But we have people losing massive amounts of weight on low vitamin A diet easily. And the right way, sustainability, slow and low. These fad diets, these crash diets, they don't work and they don't last. This guy, Matt Walsh, he's got some cool work on the whole trans thing and this and that. I haven't followed him too closely. But then he comes in talking about calories and obesity like he knows anything about calories and obesity. And you got fitness guys agreeing with him. If it was as easy as counting calories, everyone would be skinny and not be obese. If it was easy, how many, and this shows how tone deaf you are to the community of obese people trying to lose weight. There are obese people, there are even people who have 10 to 15 pounds that they just can't get rid of. Women who go on birth control, 10 to 15 pounds, they've never been able to get rid of, no matter what they do. This is more than calories. This is called toxins are stored in fat, and this is called your body will create new fat cells to store toxins inside of. And if you are not getting rid of the toxins as fast as you are taking in the toxins, then you're still going to hold on to that fat. Your body's going to protect your other tissue. Your body is going to pick the long game over immediately unleashing this thing free form in your system to have you feeling like shit and wreck you. Opinion on nano, old, and silver, also lion's mane. Lion's mane, you don't want to know about lion's mane. Did we do this on week 1 with lion's mane? Lion's mane is a scary conversation. You guys want to see what's up with lion's mane? Bill Gates is terrible. You should be metabolically healthy to lose weight from just a calorie deficit in a perfect world. Yeah. In a perfect world, you should lose weight when you're in a calorie deficit, right? The word calorie was invented in like the late 1800s, 19th century, 1889 or something. The word calorie was invented. It wasn't until 1973 that calories even arrived on a food label. It wasn't till like the 80s and 90s where we were like, count calories. Ever since we've been counting calories, people have never been more fat. Why? How did they not be fat in the early 1900s when they didn't even know what a calorie was? Please explain it to me, guys. Please explain it to me. Yeah, Bill Gates. Bill Gates is terrible. Bill Gates, whether he knows it or not, what is Bill Gates doing when he brings the vaccines to Africans and Southeast Asians? He's bringing them mega dose vitamin A with that. And if you read Grant Ginru's book, let's bring up Grant Ginru's book, okay? Let's bring up Grant Ginru's book here. Let me show you guys how to get to Grant Ginru's book. Let's take that down. I like this feature. I like that feature. Coconut water is all you need. Coconut water is good once in a while when you need some potassium. You know, don't make a habit of drinking from that Tetra Pak, though. That Tetra Pak's got that aluminum in it. Let's check out Grant Ginru's blog. Okay. G. Ginru blog. You guys see my screen? There it is. gginru.blog. Okay. He's got his ebooks here. Distinguishing the Fires of Hell was his first book. And then Poisoning for Profits is his second book. It's a free book here. And let's check out. He's got vitamin A supplementation and infertility rates, vaccines, and vitamin A, the perfect storm. In my previous ebook, I made the claim that autism is being caused by the subclinical poisoning of vitamin A. The claim was based on a lot of circumstantial evidence implicating it in the disease. The strongest bit of evidence I came across was the extraordinary rate of spontaneous bone fractures in autistic children. This fact clearly indicated that these kids are under sustained and massive amounts of inflammation. And with there being only one chemical substance known to medical science that can possibly cause spontaneous bone fractures, vitamin A, I felt that I was making a pretty strong connection. However, I was completely living my own little scientific bubble too. I had no medical knowledge. I had no firsthand experience with autism, knew no one with it, and I knew no family with children with the condition. I was completely new to the topic and a complete outsider, yet here I was making an apparently ridiculous claim as to its cause. However, I believe in numbers, and the numbers told the story. Therefore, this was not at all just a weak opinion on my part. Additionally, I had some first-hand experience with something seemingly unrelated, eczema. It was my experience with eczema and reading about the high prevalence of eczema occurring with autism that got me started down this path of investigation. From there, I dug just a little bit deeper. It did something that a lot of doctors probably dismiss as being unimportant. I started, isn't that funny? Doctors dismissing. I started reading some of the detailed accounts from parents as they witnessed their kids sinking off into this horrible autism condition. Two common observations particularly caught my attention. Firstly, many parents spoke about the light in their kid's eye being lost. Many people might take that comment as a metaphor, but I interpreted it as being very literal. The light in the eyes being lost was directly due to the drying of the eyes and the loss of the lubricating tear film. The loss of moisture on the surface of the eye prevents light from being reflected from it. Of course, we now know how and why that happens. He spoke about that in the previous chapters, about how vitamin A causes dry eyes, as well as dry mouth and chapped lips and dry skin. Naturally, as the surface of the eyes dries, it will force the kids to start blinking more often. They're simply attempting to re-lubricate the eye surface. This repeated blinking pattern is the eye clicking that many parents report in their kids. The second very important comment was that made directly from the kids themselves to their mothers, just before they fell off into a seizure or had their eyes roll up into the back of their heads. The comment was that they could taste metal in their mouths, copper. And yes, I knew about that happening too, and I have tasted metal myself too. I also now know exactly why that happens. It is the iron being drawn out of the blood and liver, interacting with the calcium being used to buffer an acid. Then there was this list of observations from the Haikon condition Dr. S. Mori of Japan published in his 1904 paper. More common, are you guys following along with this? This is incredible. Okay, where did I go? More common here we go. There we go. More common in boys than girls. The younger the child, the more susceptible they are. Diarrhea, abdominal expansion, excessive appetite, night blindness, cirrhosis of the conjunctiva, dry eyes, thinning of the hair, dry skin, sensitivity to sunlight. And yes, those are indeed many of the same comorbidity conditions reported with autism. Then when seeing that the documented side effects of high-dose vitamin A supplementation in pregnant mothers was indeed subsequently leading to damaged central nervous systems in their children, and especially affecting speech, language, IQ, it was becoming rather obvious. So let's time out real quick, guys. Time out real quick. In 1970s, vitamin A palmitate is fortified into massive amounts of dairy and grain and other products. In 1980s, the rates of autoimmune disease and autism start to exponentially rise. Okay, we are being poisoned from all angles. If everyone's 1 out of 3 people are vitamin A toxic, and mothers are giving more and more birth to children with autism, this isn't bad luck. This isn't genetics. This is a poisoning. Okay, this is a decision being made that we have to be conscious of. Okay. Participants also agreed that after the first trimester, and this is why I'm not hating on Paul Saladino. Great success, bro. I'm hating that you're targeting pregnant women, telling pregnant women that vitamin A that liver is okay for them. If a woman already has a toxic amount of vitamin A in her liver, in her system, any amount of vitamin A is going to a spillover, and that's going to cause that child to have something like autism or a birth defect. You cannot tell pregnant women to take liver, and you cannot tell pregnant women to take vitamin A, and we won't let you, bro. I don't care about being friends with any of these people. What's right is right. Participants also agreed that after the first trimester, exposure to levels in the excess of 10,000 IUs of preformed vitamin A. Okay, so there's 16,000 IUs in 3 ounces of beef liver. Levels in excess of 10,000 IUs of preformed vitamin A or retinoic acid is less risky. However, caution is advisable because some preliminary data in humans suggests mild abnormalities in central nervous system related performance, speech and language and verbal IQ test, from exposure to 13-cis-retinoic acid during the fetal period of development. These observations, which need verifying, would extend the period for possible toxic exposures into the second trimester of pregnancy. But why would anyone think this exposure risk stops at birth? What about the post-risk birth due to the subsequent exposure to retinoic acid? What's going to elevate the retinoic acid levels? High levels of tissue-stored retinol and sustained inflammation will. How about a little nudge from multiple vaccines? And yes, here once again, the experts think that abnormalities in central nervous system related performance, speech and language and verbal IQ tests, permanently affecting a child's brain are just mild adverse conditions. So he says, I was seeing the pattern. And with those connections forming, I started to investigate the autism topic a bit more. Like with my other research into the chronic disease, I was surprised by what I was finding. I quickly learned that the field of autism research was even more completely screwed up than that of the so-called autoimmune diseases. There are bizarre and completely ridiculous rationalizations being foisted on the public to explain away the alarming epidemic rates of this disease. One of the most prominent explanations are that it is just due to a broader definition of the spectrum, and we just didn't notice it before. Yeah, like we didn't notice our children not making eye contact and having extreme problems. That's right. The bullshit goes something like this. In the 1960s and 70s, the autism rates were almost the same as they are now. Parents back then were just so daft that they didn't notice their children being completely incapacitated by it. They just didn't notice their teenagers curled up and confined to their beds, wearing diapers and sucking their thumbs. Somehow we just simply missed it. Oh, and then, of course, we need to ask what's happened to all the autistic kids from the 60s, 70s, and 80s once they grew into adulthood. Where are they today? Did all those autism victims just magically disappear? This guy's asking the simple questions. This guy's asking the stupid questions. How dare you ask that question? Right? Therefore, this claim that the rates are about the same as before is such a complete load of crap, it's ridiculous, and any medical doctor that repeats that nonsense should not only have their medical license immediately revoked, they should have their driver's license revoked at the same time too. I mean, seriously, to anyone with even just 2 functional brain cells, it is completely ludicrous suggestion to think that the epidemic rate of autism is not a new phenomenon. Therefore, the exponential rate of autism we are witnessing is indeed very real, and it is being caused by something in our environment. But there are many other competing theories regarding the autism epidemic. Here's one that caught my attention. From 1987 to 1998, the California State Department of Developmental Services reported a 273% increase in autistic disorders, while the state population grew only 19%. The increase did include cases of high-functioning autism or Asperger's, and many researchers today believe that this meteoric increase is that people who have mild tendencies like engineer syndrome are more likely to marry each other. A generation ago, men with engineer syndrome would seek out a spouse with superior social skills because they knew they had deficits, but now they are marrying women with the same disposition. So Grant Giroux says, how are these people not profoundly embarrassed and ashamed of publishing such idiotic statements? If that's any indication as to the depth of thinking and scientific investigation into the etiology of this new epidemic, we are in very, very big trouble. Why is it not just blindingly obvious to the medical establishment that autism simply must be a poisoning? Okay, so vaccines and autism. My personal ignorance of the situation with the autism rates in our society was echoed by my ignorance of the ongoing raging debate regarding the possible implications that vaccines were contributing to or even causing this epidemic. I had almost no idea this debate was going on. About a decade prior, I saw a news report about a British doctor named Andrew Wakefield who had made the claim of a possible association between autism and the MMR vaccine. However, his claim was quickly debunked by the medical establishment, and the doctor was revealed for having committed scientific fraud in the case. Yeah, man, don't go debunking the medical establishment. Having almost no interest in this topic at the time, I paid little attention to the story. However, I do remember thinking about how odd that story was. I wondered, why would the doctor commit scientific fraud in such an important area affecting the health of young children? I felt if that proved to be true, it was just so beyond being irrigorious. I remember asking myself, what could have that doctor's motivations have been doing in doing so? It just didn't make sense to me. Well, it's a big, complicated world, and at the time, it did not affect me, and therefore, I wasn't going to worry about it too much. Now, here I am doing my armchair investigation of autism and the autoimmune diseases and the conflation between them, and what I am claiming is ongoing medical scientific fraud. As I started this investigation, I was very surprised to find out about how intensely polarized the debate was between 2 factions. In one camp, the pro-vaccine camp, you have the medical establishment, governments, all the government medical regulatory agencies, nearly every medical doctor, pediatrician, and the clear majority of parents. In the other camp, you have the anti-vaxxers, a much smaller, relatively speaking, a tiny group of parents who claim their children has been harmed and or who have in some unexplainable way gotten autism or other chronic disease from their vaccinations. Naturally, since this matter affects children's long-term health, this is tremendously heated debate with a ton of emotional weight thrown in from both sides. The pro-vaccine camp claims to have science on their side, and that record stands for itself. It is simply that vaccines are safe and effective and has saved countless millions. If their mantra, vaccines are safe and effective, and that science is settled, period. They want us to believe that that's the end of the story, and there's nothing more to discuss. The pro-vaccine camp claims that the anti-vaxxers are a threat to the national health, and if their misinformed message gets any traction, it could cause a resurgence in the epidemics of the infectious diseases that have been nearly conquered. The pro-vaccine camp claims that we all need to be very highly vaccinated to maintain our herd immunity. In the anti-vaccine camp, you have mostly parents with injured children, many of who now have lifelong disabilities and often autism. The reason the parents in this group believe that there is a causal connection between vaccine and their kids' health condition is because they have directly eyewitnessed it happen. I had a friend message me the other day about this. He gave his son a shot, and the child was never the same, autism ever since that day. How do you tell a parent it wasn't that? Therefore, that's a very compelling bit of evidence. These parents are rational, loving, well-caring parents. Additionally, most were in the pro-vaccine camp before their child's encounter with the adverse reactions. They had dutifully, and with the best parental intentions, taken what was their perfectly normal, healthy child in for routine vaccinations, whereupon thereafter their child had quickly cascaded into the disease condition. If this only happened once or twice, we could dismiss it as being an abnormality or some weird glitch with the vaccine-kid combination, but it's not just once or twice. It has now happened in the tens of thousands of cases. Thousands and thousands of parents have been recounting the same sequence of events. Thousands of almost identical accounts are being repeated over and over, and from around the world too. Of course, government and industry try their best to hush this up, minimize the significance of it, and have been quietly paying out some monetary compensation to the parents that have the clearest cut cases. What's a clear-cut case? Well, the clearest cut cases are the ones when the kids drop dead right in the pediatrician's office within minutes of being given the vaccine. Anything less clear-cut than that, then it's still debatable. Secondly, many parents comment that when they call their pediatrician to report their kid is having an adverse reaction and seizures in response to vaccinations given just hours earlier, they are told that it's normal. You can hear and read about this over and over by different parents in their testimonials. That's correct. Almost unbelievably, many North American pediatricians now think it is normal for young kids to be having seizures. And of course, it is deemed to be just a coincidence that the onset happens shortly after a round of vaccinations. So when did it become normal for so many kids to be having seizures? Of course, it is not normal at all. In the face of that overwhelming evidence that there's clearly something drastically wrong here, the pro-vaccine camp steadfastly sticks to the claim that vaccines are safe and effective. The fear of a potentially widespread infectious disease is too great. There can be no questioning of vaccine safety. Therefore, a very big factor in the science claim base is on fear. So even though they claim to have science on their side, they're doing something incredibly unscientific. They are taking the ostrich approach to the problem and sticking their collective heads deep into the sands of denial. They are simply trying to close their eyes to the new mountain of real-world evidence rising up in front of them, but the pro-vaccine camp does have a large amount of evidence in their favor too. That is, there are millions of kids who get vaccinated every year, and the clear majority of them appear to sail through it completely unharmed, and of course protected from the vaccine's targeted infectious microbe. Well, at least we're told so. The other bit of evidence the pro-vaccine camp has on its side is the claim that there's no scientifically plausible biological explanation for how a small vaccine jab could cause such a devastating prolonged disease, say such as autism, that on the surface of it just does not appear to be logically possible. Now, to me, this sounds all too familiar. I think even a ninth grader can see the obvious irony and fallacy in that claim of there being no scientifically plausible biological explanation. The material fact is that the small vaccine jab does indeed sometimes cause a devastating prolonged disease condition and many times even death. That is simply an absolutely undeniable fact because it's happening. Obviously, there's something going on with vaccines that we simply don't yet understand. Their claim of there being no plausible scientific biological explanation connecting vaccines and autism, implying that there isn't one, is very and so utterly absurd. It would be equivalent to engineers and physicists claiming that gravity doesn't exist because we have such a hard time explaining how a force can be applied across an empty space. Of course, gravity does exist because we see it in action every day, and it keeps us on the planet. Likewise, of course, vaccines are causing autism because it's been eyewitnessed to happen tens of thousands of times over, and it's being re-witnessed to be doing so at almost in every single day. Additionally, many parents have before and after videos showing their child's descent into this hell post-vaccination too. Therefore, to deny that vaccines are causing it to happen is simply being astoundingly idiotic. So if the pro-vaccine camp claims to have science on their side, then great. Let's deal with real science and real facts. Denials, rhetoric, and ad hominem attacks are the domain of ignorance and have no place in real science. I love that line. Denials, rhetoric, and ad hominem attacks are the domain of ignorance. It's like when we start talking about this stuff about vitamins, we start getting attacked. It's like, bro, your argument is to make fun of someone? That's not an argument, right? What does that say about you? So it says, what is science? Science is the search for and hopefully the discovery and the subsequent understanding of the laws of nature. Very sadly, the folks in the pro-vaccine camp are most certainly not on the search for the discovery and understanding of how vaccines are causing autism and the autoimmune diseases. Therefore, the pro-vaccines camp claim of having science on their side is simply a falsehood and propaganda. Furthermore, since science is not an elitist club, a religion, or a secretive cult, they do not magically have a default monopoly on science either. Love that line. It's a great line. No one has a monopoly on science. No one has a monopoly on facts and information. The ultimate authority on science is nature itself, and nature is clearly showing us that they have not discovered the laws and forces of nature involved here. The fact is that vaccines do sometimes cause a devastating prolonged disease condition. Vaccines do sometimes cause autism. Vaccines do maim and kill some children. Nature is demonstrating that it can and does happen, and it happens rather often too. Thus, vaccines causing autism is therefore an absolute scientific fact because nature is demonstrating it to happen. No amount of denials, rhetoric, and hand-waving by the so-called experts can change that fact. Sequestering off this information from the general public, it will not change the facts either. So just because they don't understand the process does not mean that it does not exist. Therefore, the claim of there being no plausible biological explanation does not mean there isn't one. It just means it has yet to be discovered. And, of course, there is a biological explanation. We just need to find it. There can be zero doubt that it is there, and it will be found. It is just a matter of time, and that is a basic logical fact. Fortunately, you don't have to wait too long for it either, because the real causal mechanism and process is going to be documented over the next few pages. Also, please remember from our golden rules for conducting experiments, if an experiment fails to prove a theory even once, then the theory is wrong. Our national widespread vaccination programs of our children are indeed a grand experiment, and it has catastrophically failed tens of thousands of times. That is another scientific fact. Therefore, the theory that vaccines are safe is simply dead wrong. A much more accurate claim would be that vaccines are somewhat safe, but not all the time, right? This is just like liver. Liver can sometimes be okay if you eat it, but sometimes you can get wrecked right away. Okay, the other theory that vaccines are effective has also been proven to be wrong. So now, given this information, what would responsible government regulatory agencies do to investigate these anomalies? I think the most obvious thing to do would be to study a large sample of children who have had no adverse reactions to them. Then, comparatively and very carefully, look at the group of children who have been given the same vaccinations and have indeed had an adverse reaction to them. To be clear, this is not studying the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated children. No, what we want to find out is why do only some children have an adverse reaction? Therefore, we want to most particularly and most thoroughly study the ones who have had the adverse reaction. What's even slightly or subtly different about these children? What's this so-called adverse reaction really, and what's its mechanism? What's the fundamental underlying condition that causes them to have such drastically different outcomes? Surely any legitimate scientist should be incredibly curious as to what it is. Who knows where this investigation might lead to? If they went looking for it, they'd surely find the answers. Of course, to government agencies, the medical establishments, the vaccine manufacturers, and the pro-vaccine groups, that's the very last thing they would want anyone to do. They need to stay on message and never show any doubts. So they really don't want to even begin to think about considering such a study. because just beginning it will force them to admit there's a known problem. No, they'd rather be seen to be right than to get it right. Okay? This is a huge problem. People see through this. When you get something wrong, it's better to admit it. But since nature, the ultimate authority on science, is repeatedly demonstrating that vaccines do harm kids, cause autism, and sometimes even death, their claim to having science on their side is simply a blatant lie. Obviously, this position makes them anti-science. Obviously, they'd rather continue to randomly kill and harm children to get their science right. What's really going on is nothing less than well-orchestrated medical establishment fascism. So who's correct in the grand debate? Well, both camps are somewhat correct within their own context. On one hand, yes, vaccines are probably mostly safe. On the other hand, yes, vaccines do maim, injure, and kill thousands of kids each year. But wait just a minute. Doesn't this sound a bit like what's going on with the vitamin A supplementation programs? It sure does to me. It's the same story. Yes, some kids must die to save the many. It's all for the greater good. A few kids dying is not statistically significant. Yes, there's a problem, but we are too busy saving the world to investigate it. There are other startling parallels here too. In both cases, the presumed experts are conducting massive health intervention programs that are indeed killing thousands of children year after year. In an astonishing display of scientific arrogance and indifference, they believe only they know best. In both programs, they are so sure, so certain of their so-called science that there can be no questioning of why the treatments are killing children. Therefore, they are also very willing to make the great sacrifices of randomly killing other people's children. But the parallels don't stop there. No, the position from the experts in these disease conditions is shockingly similar too. The experts in the autoimmune diseases publish statements such as, we, the experts, don't know what's causing the autoimmune diseases, and we pretty much don't have a clue about it yet we somehow know that they are not caused by foods. Bullshit. Since we do not know what causes Crohn's and colitis, there is no known cure yet. We do know that your diet did not cause inflammatory bowel disease, nor will a miracle diet cure it. Huh. Imagine telling someone, yo, you have a disease of your intestinal lining, and it has nothing to do with the food that you put in your mouth that went through your intestines. How can you tell someone that with a straight face? How can you tell someone that with a straight face? In the context of autism, it is commonly statements such as, we, the experts, don't know what's causing autism, and we pretty much don't even have a clue about it yet we somehow know it is not caused by vaccines. We don't know what causes autism, that's fair to say. We are not sure in the scientific community what causes autism, but we know that vaccines do not. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, criminal. If these oxymoronic statements aren't bad enough, it gets shockingly worse. In the case of autoimmune diseases, hundreds of thousands of people regularly report that certain foods cause them to go into a disease flare-up. This is a fact. It is also completely accepted to be a fact by the medical experts, yet they refuse even to consider that foods are at the root cause. Specifically regarding the vitamin A supplementation programs, the so-called experts have repeatedly eyewitnessed the treatment to be directly inducing the autoimmune diseases, yet they stubbornly refuse to believe their own eyes. Very similarly for autism, and what he's talking about there is when Bill Gates and company goes into Africa and Asia, when they come with those vaccine programs, they go hand in hand with megadose vitamin A. They're giving those kids vitamin A megadose with the shots. So he goes on to say, very similarly for autism, there have now been tens of thousands of parents who have firsthand eyewitness vaccines destroying their children and causing autism, right? Imagine telling a mom that mom gives the boy a shot, boy's never the same from that day onward, and you tell the mom it has nothing to do with that. Imagine being that cruel and cold-hearted. This is a fact, and yet in the face of this overwhelming real-world evidence, the so-called experts refuse even to consider it be a possibility. They too stubbornly refuse to believe their own eyes. And this is the problem, guys. This is the problem with beta males being in leadership positions. If you're a beta male doctor listening to this and you look a mom in her face after her child was just injured on the same day and say it had nothing to do with that, you are part of the problem. If you were a doctor who went from being lenient on vaccines to advertising the COVID vaccine for children, you are a beta male who submitted and you're part of the problem. This is the reason low testosterone is part of the problem. This is the reason they want beef and red meat to be taken away, because red meat has zinc and zinc equals testosterone. We're not playing any games here. Of course, with both autism and autoimmune diseases, most physicians have absolutely no clue as to what's causing the disease, no clue how to effectively treat it, and therefore no chance of curing it. Most people who get an autoimmune disease and go to the modern doctor, the doctor says they have no idea what's going on and that all they can do is give you steroids. And if you ask them, is it something I'm eating? They tell you no. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Hippocrates, one of the founders, was do no harm. Food is medicine. They're supposed to take the Hippocrates oath. Additionally, given their positions as physicians and public trust placed in them, their denials and refusals to face the obvious facts. Yeah, listen, no one is more trusted than the doctor in the white lab coat. And because the doctor in the white lab coat has more power than anyone in the world, because the doctor in the white lab coat is the only one putting his finger in the CEO's asshole. No pause. Dame Dash. The doctor is the only one bending over the president and the CEO and telling him what to do, right? But now that's starting to fade a little bit. People are starting to get fed up. They're starting to get hip to game. But what do they have over here for you? Alternative medicine, holistic medicine, right? Big Pharma is the one making the supplements. Big Pharma is the one producing these holistic naturopaths. They might think they're doing the right thing. They're treating things with herbs and plants. Big Pharma is making drugs from herbs and plants. Just because you left Big Pharma and modern medicine and you went over to the alternative doctors doesn't mean you're on a better or right path. And what happens a lot of times is the alternative doctors who will keep prescribing every time you show up, it's a new supplement, or people are not getting better. Then how many times do you hear it? You go back to the modern medicine doctor and they laugh at you like, see, that's what you get for leaving us. This stuff is messed up, man. This stuff is messed up. Let's go on a little bit. Now, in the context of real science, what intrigued me here was that the light in the eye being lost. Okay, he's talking about autistic kids losing the light in their eye. This is a documented symptom of vitamin A toxicity, and so are seizures. Okay, you know how many people, you guys know how many people we've interviewed and spoken to on a low vitamin A diet that are now, one of the things a lot of them say is, I can make eye contact with people again. How many, do any of you guys, you healthy people, you guys who are leveling up, clean livers, you ever notice how when you're walking around, people really aren't making eye contact like that? You ever notice how the younger generation is not good at making eye contact? We have hundreds of people on a low vitamin A diet saying not only is their anxiety gone, but they like making eye contact. Okay, let's go on. Okay, light in the eye being lost is a documented symptom of vitamin A toxicity, and so are seizures. And then seeing these same conditions occurring in kids shortly after they have been given a vaccination was a fascinating possible connection. But the real connections are much deeper than just sounding similar. There's a much deeper and very scientifically plausible connection here. It's deep within the cell and in our misunderstanding of immunity. It's the potentially deadly combination of vaccines and elevated serum and storage levels of vitamin A, and it's a downstream metabolite, retinoic acid. Okay, so just how we're seeing that some people can be vitamin A toxic and other people are not because it's time and dose, we're seeing the same things with vaccines and autism. Some children get it, some children don't. So are children being jaundiced? Are children being born with liver injury and then they're born vitamin A toxic, unfortunately, from their mom, unbeknownst to mom? Are these the children that are more likely getting these adverse reactions? Let's talk about it, you know? And guys, by the way, real quick, this is not medical advice. This is educational purposes only. I'm just a guy, a health coach in Florida, reading a book and asking questions, right? What are those recently discovered receptors that are activated by vaccines? It is now well understood that the immune system uses pathogen-associated molecular patterns, PAMPs, PAMPs, to activate pathogen recognition receptors such as TLR, and also a host of other more recently discovered receptors, retinoic acid inducible gene-based, RIGI, like receptors, or RLRs, and cytosolic nucleotide oligomerization domain, NOD like receptors. Never read that word in my life. Sorry, guys. Or NLRs. These receptors bind various pathogen ligands more. Oh, would you look at that? It's a bunch of them, including the retinoic acid ones. Somewhat paradoxically, these cells that have been damaged by the vaccine's adjuvant and that have not been completely killed by it are now the much bigger concern. These cells are now going to start processing latent and circulating retinol in serum into retinoic acid. They are now little mini factories producing retinoic acid on a nonstop basis. This will continue for as long as these cells can stay alive. Additionally, I don't really believe Plotkin and Orenstein's determination that the so-called recently discovered receptors are simply being activated. No, I believe what's really happened is that the cell's membrane has been sufficiently damaged by the vaccine's adjuvant to allow these other solvent-based molecules to more easily pass through the cell's otherwise protective fatty membrane. And that's why there's a whole host of other receptors that appear to be activated at the same time now. Now there are a few super critically important points to understand here. Firstly, how do they know that the retinoic acid receptors have been activated? It's by measuring and detecting the increased quantities of retinoic acid in the cell's nucleus and cytoplasm. So what Grant Ginru is showing here, he's correlating and showing that the amount of vitamin A in the body has a major factor on how bad you're going to react from this vaccine, right? So what they've really detected in the increased rates of retinoic acid production, and for everyone new here and just joining in and new to this vitamin A convo, retinoic acid is vitamin A. It's vitamin A. Retinoic acid production, and from that increased rate, they then infer that the retinoic acid receptors have been activated. The second important point to understand is that the overall process can cascade out of control. This fact has also been well known for decades now in the context of lung cancers. Toxic damaged cells in the presence of more retinoids cause not only incidence of the cancer, it also causes the cancers to accelerate. Yeah, this is an amazing study. Okay, they did a study on smokers and lung cancer. W. Thor, let's go, guys. Comment, like, subscribe. If you want, after I'm almost done with this chapter, if you want a question answered, please subscribe to my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube and ask a question on the YouTube, and those will be the questions that we'll answer first, all right? And the YouTube is at Thor Torrens. Very simple. So check it out with lung cancer. In all three of these studies, taking very high doses of beta-carotene with or without 25,000 IU retinol palmitate or 325 milligrams of aspirin did not prevent lung cancer. In fact, both the CARROT and ATBC studies showed a significant increase in lung cancer among study participants taking beta-carotene supplements or beta-carotene and retinol palmitate supplements. Guys, if you are a smoker and you're also a health food person, you're really do one or the other. If you're a smoker and you're doing high vitamin A, look at what this study says. And this ain't the only one, by the way. If your study, a significant increase in lung cancer risk. What are you doing, dictionary? Significant increase in lung cancer risk among study participants taking beta carotene. Okay. Let's save that study for later. See, you guys think that people think that I'm just talking shit on Twitter, and people think I'm just talking out of my ass. I'm reading stuff like this all day long. And then you come in and try to argue with me, and you just read the first page of Google. It's like the Paul brothers stepping in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. You can't go back in time and study the game. You gotta put in the hours reading this stuff before you really come in the replies and argue, right? You got to put in the time. You got to put in the work. With that, I think the connection is revealed. The vaccines are doing exactly what they're designed to do. Their adjuvants are breaking down cell membranes. As with the toxins released by tobacco smoking, the adjuvants, say such as the aluminum, bind onto the cell's outer membrane and vastly compromise its integrity by increasing its permeability to the retinoids. The compromised cell membranes effectively prop open the door, so to speak, and allow more circulating retinoids to quickly pass into the cell's interior and then to be converted into retinoic acid. This brings us to yet another crucially important bit of evidence that the pro-vaccine camp believes that they have on their side of the debate. That's the fact that there are kids who have descended into autism and that they have never been vaccinated. It's like, aha, there you go. Something other than vaccines is causing autism. But of course, this does not mean that vaccines are not causing autism too. Rather, it is clear evidence that vaccines are not causing all incidences of autism. More correctly, we can just say that vaccines are not acting alone in causing autism. Therefore, what's far more logically plausible is that vaccines are causing a changed cellular state that is then enabling a potential background toxicity condition to manifest itself, right? So, for example, you have this thing called RBPs in your body, retinol binding proteins. You can take a blood test and you can get your vitamin A serum level checked, and you can also get your RBPs checked, your retinol binding proteins checked. Retinol binding proteins are the shield that is protecting your body from retinoic acid being unleashed and destroying cells. That's what that means. Okay, it's that simple. RBPs, think of them as the shield protecting your body. Okay, where were we here? Therefore, what's more logically possible is that vaccines are causing a changed cellular state that is then enabling a potential background toxicity condition to manifest itself. And rather extraordinarily, that's exactly what the adjuvants in the vaccines are designed to do. The adjuvants are cytotoxins that the designers of the vaccine have expressly included in the vaccine so that cellular damage occurs. Once damaged, how long could these poison cells be producing retinoic acid and defective and thus immune alerting proteins for? Well, maybe for about the next 7 years. Therefore, I think a good analogy for understanding how a small vaccine jab could cause such a devastating long-term disease such as autism is that of throwing a lit match into a forest. Depending on the underlying moisture conditions in the forest, I love this analogy. Depending on the underlying moisture conditions in the forest, that lit match could be a completely harmless event, or it could be a disastrous one. In the early spring, that lit match does nothing. Conversely, in the late summer, or when the forest is dry, that one small lit match could lead to a 10,000-acre forest fire and burn down towns in its path. In my previous ebook, I've documented this cascading chain reaction in the context of it causing the autoimmune diseases and SIDS. But of course, it is not always going to be quick or necessarily fatal. The process can happen more slowly and be sustained over longer periods of time, even decades, leading to permanent brain damage. So I think that's enough for that chapter. Do you guys want me to keep reading it? You want me to keep reading that one, or should we stop? I don't know what prompted me to even open that chapter, but I think it's a very important one. Emotional investment is a mother. I don't know what that means, Stoic Drill Sergeant, but I like it. I like it. I rarely make long eye contact. I feel like it intimidates people, so I choose not to. Ha. Well, here's a game, okay? And this is a good body language conversation and just a general socialization equation. You make eye contact, and then if you look down in a way, that's symbolism that you are inferior to that person. That's symbolism that you're being dismissive. That's symbolism that you are being in an anxious state, right? So what you can do if you want to play a game is you make eye contact, and then you either nod and agree, or then you look to the side or you look up in a way and you keep it moving, right? But a fun game that you can play if you're a real maniac is who breaks eye contact first. And then if the guy or the girl, is like, what the fuck are you staring at? You could say, hey, I thought I knew you. You remind me of someone I knew and I thought you were them, Or if it's a girl or a guy you like, you say, hey, you look cool. I want to get to know you, So don't be afraid of making eye contact. And or use your peripheral vision and play it cool sometimes, because bro literally reading nighttime stories to us, enjoying it though. Yeah, listen, this book isn't too well known, and you never know who's going to stumble upon this live stream, right? You never know who's going to stumble upon this. There could be one person who goes and reads that book and it changes their life for the better. And that's all that matters. Opinion on nano gold and lion's mane. Nano gold, I don't know too much about. Colloidal silver, I am a fan of. And I make my own colloidal silver, and I've been doing it for 15 years. And I have a course in one of ones on colloidal silver. I've had a silver generator since 2012. And I think I bought it for like $150 or $200. And all I got to do is replace new silver rods in it. I plug it in. I put it in distilled water. It ionizes the water. And I have some silver particles in my water. Silver is another thing that our soil's severely deficient of. Silver is another thing they tried to cease and desist during the whole 2020 debacle. You won't turn blue from silver. But I would not make a habit of doing silver every day, I would do it like once a year, twice a year. I would do it like if somebody's sick. Silver is like something I look at as charcoal and other things that like I just always keep around. Charcoal is the biggest thing for poisoning, whether it's food poisoning. If most poisoning situations in a hospital, that hospital is going to bring charcoal into play. So I keep some charcoal on me. I'm assuming simply apple is good to drink because of that. Only contains apples, nothing else. Apple is good to eat when you start drinking fruit concentrated in a juice. Then you're getting into the territory of non-alcoholic fatty liver if you make that a habit, right? It's like the Ray Peat people pounding down orange juice. A little amount in an orange is going to be way different on your liver than pounding the juice of it all day long for years. And the Ray Peat people and others will say, hey, well, I feel fine. I'm doing fine. But the liver disease is a silent disease. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet today of osteoporosis is the silent disease. Liver disease, silent disease. Alzheimer's, the silent killer. It's funny how they name these things the silent things, and we know they're coming from poisonings, and they're slowly building up over time. Works great topically. Yeah. Silver can work great topically too. Psyllium husk and charcoal can work great topically too. Now we're getting into the real biohacker. I hate the word biohacker because all these biohackers are cheating and using drug effects but real biohacking is like making your own colloidal silver at home with a silver generator, and it's like easier than brewing a cup of coffee. All first aid kits in post-Soviet space have activated charcoal. Yeah, guys, keep some. I just did a charcoal course in 1-of-1s. Join 1-of-1s and check it out because we got all the info on charcoal. Let's go into some other things that I had round up for us and talk about. Let's talk about eggs for a second. Eggs are a hot topic. Okay. Anybody have any questions on YouTube before we go into eggs? We got 894 people on this live. I don't know where they're from, if they're on Twitter or if they're on YouTube. They're all on Twitter. There's 885 on Twitter and there's 10 on YouTube. All right, we got to figure our YouTube out. 1-of-1s is still $10 a month, guys. Priceless. For less than pack of cigarettes, you can not only get extremely healthy and smart, we also have the brain training. You can help your friends and family get healthy. Should I get the barefoot running shoes? I want to try them out. Great question. Barefoot footwear, I first started in 2012 too with Vivo Barefoot. I think it was my first pair. And I was coming off an ankle injury. And my friend who was in the NFL, I saw him wearing the Vivo Barefoots with the toe spread. And he said, yeah, I've been using these to rehab an injury. And then I went into the science of it and how we're designed to be barefoot and how, the invention of the new footwear, the Nike footwear, it has a heel. Most of these sneakers have a heel in them. So you're elevated. So your body's out of alignment and you're causing yourself pain. Not only that, when you look at someone's foot, their feet are getting squished like that in their footwear, right? Our feet are our second hands. My hand can do this, but can your feet spread? Are your feet flexible and versatile like that? So when we're wearing barefoot footwears, you see me running in the Earth Runner sandals, my feet can breathe. My feet aren't suffocated. If you're wearing a modern day footwear and your feet are constantly being suffocated like this, you are atrophying the hundreds of muscles and ligaments in your foot, in your ankle, in your Achilles, in your calves. And you're also causing a body misalignment that can cause you hip pain, joint pain, back pain, headaches. Back pain is a big. Stoic the drill sergeant. Let's go, brother. Let's go. Stoic the drill sergeant says, I stopped smoking cannabis partly due to your input. Coffee is next. Yeah, it's a great experiment, guys. You have hip pain, so you're going to buy them ASAP. With barefoot footwear, there's a little bit of a learning curve at first, right? The first few days, the first few weeks, you're going to be sore. You're going to be tight. Don't go out buying barefoot footwear and just try to run on day one. Walk for a week or 2 or 3, right? And then on your first run, take it slightly. People say, how are you running in those sandals? I've been doing it for over 10 years as far as barefoot footwear. So my calves, my Achilles, my feet are conditioned. Start slow and low. Exactly. You just went your entire life not doing this thing. Don't jump in the deep end day one. And with the Earth Runners, there's also a learning curve of it's going to put a little callus between that big toe and that second toe. So let me tell you about the Earth Runners. You just work your way up. You get a little cut, maybe week 1. You take them off. You let that cut heal. Put some zinc oxide on that cut. Put some tape on it, some zinc. Once that cut heals, put those Earth Runners back on. If it happens one more time, let it heal again, put it back on. You'll develop a callus and you'll develop, thick skin. That's the other thing. When you keep your feet in a dark, damp place your entire life, bad things happen in dark, damp places, right? Bad things happen in dark, damp places. This is the same conversation with the parasite thing. The parasite thing is getting out of control, guys. All you Instagram influencers doing this parasite bullshit and telling people that they have to take parasite herbs 3 or 4 times a year to detox, you're going to hurt people's livers, man. You're going to straight up hurt people's livers. The zinc ointment cream I mentioned, zinc oxide, like a diaper rash with a few simple ingredients, zinc oxide. This is the cream that the old school lifeguards would put on their nose and it would be all white, right? You want a good life hack, you put a little zinc oxide on an age spot or a liver spot, and you do that every day, watch that age spot go away in a month or 2. That plus a low vitamin A diet. So yeah, start slow. Fruit juices in balance, colloidal silver FTW. This book needs more pictures. There actually is. There is some pictures in the other side of the book. And then lion's mane. Okay, let's look at lion's mane. Okay, you want to see some crazy shit? You guys want to see some crazy shit? Do I recommend lion's mane to anyone? Never. Never. Why do I not recommend lion's mane to anyone? Lion's mane recovery. Okay, lion's mane recovery. There are 10,000 members. Lion's mane is a highly dangerous substance which causes brain damage. We understand that its side effects can be life-changing, and we want to provide a safe. So here's some messed up shit, right? Here's some messed up shit. Lion's mane got super popular. Why did lion's mane get super popular? These fad things, man. That's why we go hard at one-on-ones. That's why I go hard on every day on Twitter. That's why we're making something different cool, which is called doing no harm and doing less. Because you got every idiot in the world telling everybody to take anything and everything. And then you go here, Lion's Mane Recovery, 10,000 members. Okay. Tonsillitis after lion's mane twice. Lion's mane hell. Hi all, I really wanted to come in here to help others avoid what I went through, still going through recently. I took lion's mane, 2,000 milligram extract, 15:1 ratio, 2 capsules in the AM upon waking. The first day I took it, I kid you not, I could actually feel the clarity come over me like a veil being lifted. I felt great, super energized, positive, clear, and I thought I found a magic pill. Red flag number 1, guys. When something starts working right away, red flag number 1. He says, I thought I found a magic pill. Other than a few spots on my face popping up over the first week, no side effects of note. Very happy at this stage. Fast forward 14 days, and I can only describe what happened to me as a total emotional breakdown. It happened really quickly, but over a few days, I felt my mood dropping, becoming extremely irritable and snappy. Negative thoughts ran through my head. Worthlessness. Thinking about things that happened years and years ago. Couldn't get these thoughts out of my mind. Feeling tearful and hating everyone, including myself. Energy level went through the roof and felt lethargic, but really just said, oh, I just got a great idea for this group. I just got a great idea for this group. Maybe they'll let me post a video here tomorrow. It came to my head one day, I just snapped. This never happened before. Surely I get irritable from time to time. Boom. You got a bunch of people supporting him. Sorry this happened. Recently took my lion's mane. Very much sweating while sleeping, low-key panic attacks, overactive mind, couldn't sleep, palpitations when waking up. What were your bad effects? So, almost took it. What makes it bad? My nightmare just starting. Super thankful I found this thread. I did not do my proper research before taking the supplement. I suffer from small migrants. I think he means migraines, unless he's got a bunch of migrants in his house. Yeah, migraines that cause me stroke-like symptoms. I started seeing this product all over TikTok. Guys, we can't get our health advice from TikTok and IG, guys. You got people in TikTok shops selling anything and everything. This is the wild, wild west, man. They're not regulating. There's no policing on this shit. There's no policing on this. I got the Amazon product from Amazon, to be specific. Mushroom extract, 4,200 milligrams. I started taking it Tuesday, and yesterday the symptoms started. Holy cow, I thought I was going crazy. I started to feel huge anxiety, like I was about to faint, sweating, suicide, ideation. My brain started feeling heavy. My face sweats. I could barely talk or process my thoughts. The right side of my body feels heavier too. I took a walk and it helped. Today I woke up still feeling very off. I'm super sad and not sure what to do next. I noticed I took a huge doses to what is recommended, but who sells doses that high? I'll be keeping you updated, considering it's my first day. Please wish me good luck and a speedy recovery. This guy says, but yet everyone who has issues with lion's mane is crazy and hypochondriac. Definitely we are not. I'm sure this is what caused me the issues I'm having now. I definitely did overtake it. I'm a female and I'm 5 feet. The doses were just too high for me. I want to show my friends for awareness. Were you using lion's mane alone with other substances? Questions about lion's mane and long COVID. Mushrooms can send you to psychiatric if you freak out. Remember, lion's mane is potent and clinically mind-altering substance. That's why we're trying to warn you about it. Lion's mane is a hard drug, not a cigarette, weed. Your whole world can get rocked. So what's interesting too, guys, right, is like, listen, some people are taking lion's mane and they're coming online and they're getting rocked, and then they're coming on Reddit and shit and they're like, yo, I need some help. I need some answers. Other people are taking lion's mane and like they might not even be noticing that they're rocked, right? They just might be like, yo, I'm depressed. And they don't even correlate. If you're taking, most people are taking 20 plus supplements. How are you going to know which supplement rocked you and made you depressed, right? How are you going to know which one hit you? This is why what we do is different. An abrupt arrival at the gates of hell. I took approximately 1.6 grams daily for 2 to 3 months, and today started what I can only describe as an extremely abrupt arrival to the gates of hell. When I started taking lion's mane, I felt amazing almost overnight. All the alleged benefits seemed prevalent and with no evidence on the old interweb about side effects. I had no concerns. I vaguely remembered Ryan Russo having a video about it, but didn't think much of it, nor did I distinctly remember it being lion's mane. Today, I felt smacked in the face with an unwavering sense of depersonalization. There's more to it, but I'm having issues with phrasing and remembering some of the simplest words and even super recent events in my life for that matter. I feel completely numb. I feel that everything I've done to work in my mental health is now in vain, and as a hyper-analytical individual, I already see the struggles ahead of my life in terms of recovery and how my personal life likely to be affected. Over the years, I've tried a variety of substances as I spent a fair amount of life in the gym, not once using steroids. My first step is going to toss out the lion's mane. This is crazy, guys. Jesus. Wheelchair bound for 6+ months. Not off the lion's mane. Been taking lion's mane for over 3 years, in addition to microdosing psilocybin every few weeks. I believe I was also taking really high doses of B6, another neurotoxin. Guys, B6 and vitamin A are the only vitamins that are actually neurotoxins. How does that work? We're at 965 people watching this. We need 40 more people to get to 1,000. I got to get a drink of water. Ended up having severe foot and leg pain, almost like my leg was going through a meat grinder. I couldn't put any weight on my foot or leg, had to quit my job, and was completely bedbound. Had every test done under the sun. Jesus. Had every test under the sun until I was told I have complex regional pain syndrome. It's where my nerves were stuck permanently on. I think we read this one the other day, actually, or I posted it on Twitter. I have no idea if lion's mane contributed to this, but I only stumbled upon this group today. Okay, so this is what I kind of mean too, guys, of like, stop playing guessing games with people's health. Stop playing guessing games with your own health. Just because you see an influencer on TikTok or IG or on Twitter, these anonymous accounts on Twitter who every day their job is to just post supplements and then list benefits and then get you to click and buy it. Stop telling people to take supplements and you know nothing about their health, you know nothing about their toxicity level, and you know nothing about the adverse reaction and the side effects and how these molecules synergistically or not synergistically mix with other molecules. If you are out here pushing supplements because you are an affiliate marketer, you have to fucking put disclaimers. You have to look into how these things can wreck people. You're playing games with human beings' lives. If you're selling liver supplements, you have to tell women that if they're pregnant, it can give their baby birth defects. This is the ethical, right, logical, human being thing to do. For Paul Saladino to sit there and act like a woman can't get give birth to a defected child from taking liver is irresponsible, dangerous, and a crime against humanity, honestly. It's a straight up crime against humanity. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. We are back. I had to get my plug. Good. We got 986 people. We didn't lose one viewer for me going to get a drink of water. From now on, I'll get extra water out here. So this is what I'm talking about with these influencers and these health gurus and these people who are just telling people willy-nilly, take lion's mane, take liver, take this. Stop telling people to take. Stop telling people to take supplements, man. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Ready? Watch this. Okay, you see this guy's wheelchair bound. You see the lion's mane recovery. 10,000 people in this Reddit. Now, multi-ingredient supplements, liver damage. Okay? Yes, some multi-ingredient nutritional supplements can cause liver injury, including weight loss herbal supplements, detox teas, other herbal products. This is another huge one that these before after weight loss people, guys, there's no quick fixes out here. There's no quick fixes. If you see someone posting these, do you know they can buy before and after pictures, stock images? Did you know that these marketers can go and buy before and after pictures that it wasn't even their clients that they helped? If you see someone saying, I helped this person lose weight on a detox tea, run far away. Okay? Run far, far away. One study estimates that 20% of liver injuries in the United States are caused by dietary supplements. Okay, Orlando Health. Supplements can also result in liver injury. We've got a supplement problem. In North America, in the West, we have a supplement problem. Brian Johnson and Dave Asprey coming on the freaking screen. We're one viewer away from 1,000 live stream. Let's go. 1,000. We got 1,000. Fucking burst the confetti. Pop the champagne. We've got 1,000 viewers. And we're saving lives, man. We're saving lives. You want to hear more about why we should be taking K2 with vitamin D3? I almost fell for the parasite thing. Simple math says your liver will pay. Yeah. So look at this. One study estimates that 20% of liver injuries in the United States are caused by using dietary supplements. It found that two types of supplements were largely to blame: multi-ingredient nutrition products, such as those used for weight loss, and anabolic steroids. Okay? Let's talk about steroids real quick. And just real quick, okay? If you're a guy, you want to get jacked, you might have low T, you're seeing everybody go on steroids, you have to understand part of the reason you got such low T and low libido and fatigue is because your liver is injured. because you have cholestasis, because you did too much already. You don't need to be an alcoholic to hurt your liver, guys. You could hurt your liver. Everything adds up when it comes to the liver. So you injured your liver. That's why you got low T. And then you decide to go take some synthetic hormones that are going to do more of what to your liver? More damage to your liver. So how's that game going to end? Especially if you're one of these health nuts who's on steroids and then trying to do a bunch of other stuff with it. At least in the 1980s, the guys on steroids were eating grilled chicken, rice, and asparagus. You know? Let's look at this. Let's look at this. If you were taking dietary supplements, especially for weight loss or building muscle, it is important to know the signs of liver damage. Jaundice, pain in your upper right abdomen, swollen belly. How many steroid guys and HGH guys, you see a guy with a six-pack with a swollen belly? That's the other thing, guys. Like, when you get jacked naturally, when you get high T naturally, you got a different look than the guys who are like that. Newsflash, buddies. Girls don't like that steroid veiny look, looking all crazy like a marshmallow man and all like a glazed turkey. Females don't really like that glazed turkey look, man. You're doing that glazed turkey look and that vascularity for other men. Men are the only one commenting on that. So don't get caught up in this whole following the herd and these vanity metrics just because you see a guy all swollen jacked and then you want to get just as swollen jacked as him. Think about your liver, man. Take care of your liver first, right? Or get your liver healthy first and then try. That's what I would do if I were to do it. You know, maybe in 5 years when my vitamin A levels are at 0. But the irony is you don't even need it then. That's the irony. Liver injury from herbal and dietary supplements. Herbal and dietary supplements are used increasingly, both in the United States and worldwide, and HDS-induced liver injury in the U.S. has increased proportionally. So we are getting healthier. We're getting healthier, but everyone's getting sicker. That's what's really happening here. We're getting healthier, but everybody is getting sicker somehow. We're counting more calories, but everyone's getting fatter. We're taking more supplements, but everyone has more depression. Current challenges in the diagnosis and management of HDS-induced liver injury were the focus of a 2-day research symposium sponsored by the American Association for the Study of Liver Disease and National Institutes of Health. Okay. Anabolic steroids marketed as bodybuilding supplements typically induce a prolonged cholestatic but ultimately self-limiting liver injury that has a distinctive serum biochemical as well as histological phenotype. And God forbid you're taking a supplement, you don't even realize there's steroids in it. Green tea extract and many other products, in contrast, tend to cause an acute hepatitis-like injury. Are you guys starting to see how this supplement game adds up? What's sad is like the health nuts, they actually care about their health, right? That's why we're converting so many health nuts to low vitamin A and these programs because health nuts already cared about their health and wanted to do the right thing. And inadvertently, they destroyed their health by being too healthy. That's why when somebody says, somebody will come to me with a bunch of symptoms and I'll say, what do you eat? And they'll be like, well, I eat healthy. What does that mean? Eating healthy to one person makes eating healthy to another person. If eating healthy means you're eating a bunch of colorful plants, you are eating toxic carotenoids, you're eating a high vitamin A diet, and that's not healthy. That's also not alkaline. Because if you have too much vitamin A in your system, that's converting to retinoic acid. And how is retinoic acid spilling into all your epithelial tissue? How is that an alkaline diet? You can't eat a high vitamin A diet and call it alkaline. You failed biochemistry 101. Straight up. That's what happened. You failed it. Let's look at this. Okay. Let's go to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Okay. Pretty established thing. The acute and chronic effects of vitamin A toxicity are well documented in the literature. You guys arguing with me, now you're arguing with the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. You're not just arguing with me anymore. Acute, right away, Accutane, liver, megadose. Acute and chronic effects of vitamin A toxicity are well documented in the literature. Emerging evidence suggests that subtoxicity without clinical signs of toxicity may be a growing concern. So what they're basically saying is like nobody knows and realizes this is happening. The same thing we're saying. Because intake from preformed sources of vitamin A often exceeds the recommended dietary allowance for adults, especially in developed countries. North America, developed country, highest autoimmune rates. Osteoporosis and hip fracture are associated with preformed vitamin A intakes that are only twice the current RDA. Okay, so if you're taking a multivitamin, a lot of multivitamins already have twice the level of vitamin A. That would mean you'd have to just eat white rice for the rest of the day. Where are we? I lost the dang article. There we go. Assessing vitamin A status in persons with subtoxicity or toxicity is complicated because serum retinol concentrations are non-sensitive indicators in this range of liver vitamin A reserves. Look at that. Serum retinol concentrations are non-sensitive indicators in this range of liver. What they are telling you is that your blood levels, your blood levels of vitamin A aren't going to always tell the full picture, right? And this is what we're seeing. Some of the sickest people have the lowest vitamin A serum level. And then they go on a low vitamin A diet, and that level starts to rise because the body breathes a sigh of relief and starts to dump it. And the worst thing you can do to those people, if you didn't earn a low serum level with a low vitamin A diet, you've got a lot of vitamin A in that liver. And the worst thing in the world is for some idiot doctor or holistic practitioner to look at that blood test and, God forbid, say that that person is deficient. God forbid they misconstrue that, because they didn't do the heavy lifting and see that assessing vitamin A status persons is complicated because the serum level, your blood level, is non-sensitive indicator. The metabolism in well-nourished persons or preformed vitamin A provided by either liver or supplements has been studied by several research groups. To control vitamin A deficiency, large therapeutic doses are administered in developing countries to women and children who are often undernourished. By the way, those studies have proved nothing. They haven't helped anyone. Nevertheless, little attention has been given to the short-term kinetics after absorption but before storage of large dose of vitamin A, or to the short and long-term effects of such a dose given to lactating women on serum and breast milk concentrations of retinol, its metabolites. Moreover, appropriate dosing regimes have not been systemically evaluated to ascertain the quantitative improvement in vitamin A status of the women and children who receive these supplements. What they're telling you is they have no idea what's going on. The known acute and chronic effects of vitamin A toxicity have been reported previously. However, further research is needed to ascertain the areas of the world in which subclinical toxicity exists and to evaluate its effects on overall health and well-being. Okay? Guys, this conversation is not going away. We are not wrong about this. We are not wrong about vitamin A. It is not a vitamin, and it is destroying people. No one is accounting for it. You literally have the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition stating this. Okay. You have them admitting that the serum levels, they have no idea what's in the liver. The only way to tell what's in the liver is a biopsy. So how do you tell what's in the liver? How do you tell what's in the blood? You day one, you go on a low vitamin D diet, you take your serum level test, then you take it again in 3 months or a month, then you take it again in 6 months, then you take it again in 12 months. You go on Grant Ginru's blog. He's been doing this for 9 years. He's been on a low vitamin A diet for 9 years, and he reversed kidney disease, stage 3. He's the only guy the kidney doctors have ever seen that didn't have to go on dialysis at the stage he was at. He reversed debilitating eczema. Why should we not be taking K2 with vitamin D3? You shouldn't take either. First of all, vitamin A depletes your body of K2. So if you have bleeding gums, you have a vitamin A toxicity. That's another thing that people are getting rid of. And then vitamin D3 causes hypercalcemia. Vitamin D3 will cause you to be stiff as a board. Some people are having my vitamin D video went viral on here, and then they shut off the faucet at 1.4 mil. They shut my video off at 1.4 mil, and I haven't really got a follower since that. I was getting like 500 followers a week. I haven't been getting any followers since that video. It is what it is. We'll keep hitting the pavement, man. Right? It's not about the quantity, it's the quality. Right? And interestingly enough, ever since that video went to 1.4 mil, I've been having more reply guys than ever attacking me. I have no problem with any of the reply guys attacking me. And I won't block any of you. Bring it on. I haven't blocked one person on here yet. Because words cannot faze me, and I know what we're doing is right. I know what we're doing is right, and I'm going to show you every Thursday. We're going to come on here and show you there's 640 people in one of ones. There's 3,000 people in Dr. Garrett Smith's Love Your Liver program. There's hundreds of people in Grant Ginru's forum. The army is growing. My childhood friends are hitting me up. They're getting on the low vitamin A diet. Every day, more people are trying, because people are fed up. People are looking for answers. Where's a good place for Biochemistry 101 that will give it to me straight? Stoic Drill Sergeant? What do you mean by that, Stoic Drill Sergeant? What do you mean by Biochemistry 101 giving it to you straight? Let's look at another one here. Let's look at another one here and just show you why vitamin A is not a vitamin. And if you get mad about a vitamin, you got a lot of other issues, right? Imagine getting mad because someone's saying vitamin A is not a vitamin. What do you identify as a vitamin? Vitamin A, retinol, and its congeners, the retinoids, participate in a panoply of biological events, as for instance, cell differentiation, proliferation, survival, and death, necessary to maintain tissue homeostasis. Furthermore, such molecules may be applied as a therapeutic agent in the case of some diseases, dermatological immunodeficiency. Yeah, they use it in dermatology to burn layers of skin off. They use it in cancer to destroy stem cells. Look at this. Look at this. Necessary to maintain tissue homeostasis. Okay, dermatology, they use it as a chemical peel to burn a layer of skin off. Cancer, they use retinoic acid, vitamin A, to destroy your cells. In spite of this, as if that's a good thing, there is a growing body of evidence showing that vitamin A doses exceeding the nutritional requirements may lead to negative consequences. You think? Including bioenergetic state dysfunction, redox impairment, altered cellular signaling, and cell death or proliferation. Yeah. What do you think? Why do you think they use it in leukemia, you idiot? cell death. They use it in leukemia to kill your stem cells. And then they're telling you, oh, but it causes cell death, depending on the cell type. Neurotoxicity has long been demonstrated as a possible side effect of inadvertent consumption or even under medical recommendation of vitamin A and retinoids at moderate to high doses. Guys, liver is a moderate to high dose. These people who are telling you to take liver have you on the freaking path to neurotoxicity. This isn't a game. This isn't a joke. I'm not making this up, right? We just showed the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, and this is another one, okay? You can look this up, the neurotoxic effects of vitamin A and retinoids. If vitamin A is used in leukemia as a chemotherapy, how is it a vitamin? How is something they use to kill stem cells a vitamin? How? Yeah. I assume most sources are bought and paid for. Yeah. You go to the first page. They still have. Guys, the cornerstone research was done on rats with milk casein and pork lard. Two things that have vitamin A in them. They proved deficiency by feeding them vitamin A. That's how much this got wrong. Some authors discuss it is rare to observe toxicity resulting from this finding. However, the most common parameters that are analyzed in case of vitamin toxicity include observation of acute signs and symptoms, among which are nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, bulging of the fontanelle and infiltrates as a result of increased intracranial pressure. You ever see that? The infants who have the bulging, these poor little infants who are getting eczema, and these infants who are getting juvenile arthritis, that's vitamin A toxicity. These infants who are getting constant ear infections, that's vitamin A toxicity. Some aspects of vitamin A toxicity may be easily assessed, as for example, through analysis of liver and renal function. However, with the exception of morphological observations or the consequent behavior resulting from pain, as occurs during headache, it is very difficult to affirm that the acute vitamin A exposition will not lead to sequels that may negatively affect the neuronal function later. Gender, age, and nutritional quality, among other factors, influence the degree of intoxication of almost all existing toxicants. Therefore, caution may be taken when concluding that previous vitamin A intake at higher than normal concentrations not induce posterior dysfunction, mainly when analyzing neural environment. Okay, so what they are saying is you cannot tell people to take vitamin A. You cannot. Yeah, Weldon's in the building. 5 years low vitamin A. He has incredible results. Reverse celiac. Can eat bread again. 5 years low vitamin A diet. Weldon, have you lost your eyesight yet? He hasn't. Plot twist, he hasn't. It's time to wake up, guys. It's time to realize this thing is not a vitamin. And it's time to help yourself so then you can help others. Right? That's what happened to me. I helped myself. I went to the depths. I did the hours. I read all the books. I read all the studies. I saw with my own eyes. I saw people like Weldon. I saw people like Dr. Garrett Smith. I saw people like Grant Shinru. And the more and more people I saw, the more I realized that this is one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle out there. And I felt so good and energetic and vibrant and happy that I said, I got to share this, man. I got to lean into this and help people. Straight up. Because every day I would wake up and go online and see some idiot advertising some toxic thing that was going to hurt someone. Every day you see some idiot doing more harm. The Hippocrates oath is to do no harm. That means when you have something like liver that is high in vitamin A and copper, guys, liver isn't just high in vitamin A and copper. Liver has got arsenic, lead, cadmium, manganese. Liver has got glyphosate. Glyphosate's in the liver. If the cow was killed in fight or flight, it's got adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine, hormones. Hormones are in the liver. If that cow, like, people don't understand what the liver is and what it does, and people don't understand what they're doing to themselves eating a liver. We're not wrong. We will never be wrong. I don't care if a lion eats it in the jungle. I don't care if a tribal member eats it because they're starving. People died from eating wild boar liver in Italy and Spain, documented cases. You know, it's about do no harm. Once you do the research and the reading and see, ready? Let's look. Let's just shoot from the hip. Let's just shoot from the hip. And we should actually go on my Twitter. We should go on my Twitter. But before we go on my Twitter, look at this guy. This nutrient-dense guy with 21 followers, I think he is a big Pharma vitamin A guy. He's all over. They're putting nutrient-dense guy to work. They're putting nutrient-dense guy to work. Look, this lady's trying to give him vitamin A, and he's like, nah, man, I don't want your vitamin A. Do you know when they first came to these countries to give them vitamin A, they were like, no, we're not taking your pills. So what did they do? They said, we're going to put it in food. So they fortify it in the food. This guy has diabetes. No, that guy doesn't have diabetes. I don't know what that guy has. That guy's got a receding hairline, and it looks like some cool earrings. Why would this guy have diabetes? Let's see what he's talking about. No, but Papua New Guinea has a very high vitamin A diet, and Papua New Guinea has blindness. And you look at their see, this is why idiots online are idiots, right? Papua New Guinea has a diabetes problem. Papua New Guinea has the highest blindness. Papua New Guinea is also largely vegetarian, starches, sweet potatoes, pork, retinoic acid. And then this guy decides to answer that this guy has diabetes. Do you think this guy is eating this guy is a tribal member living off the land, dude? If it don't, we're not talking about this guy. But let's look. Let's not get off topic. Liver, eating liver, died, Italy. How toxic a polar bear liver is? That's not the one. No. Death by nutrition. That's a one. No, I think it was eating boar liver, died, Spain. Prevalence of hepatitis E virus infection, wild boars from Spain, a possible seasonal pattern. There was 2 hunters and they accidentally ate the boar liver. One got hepatitis, the other guy died. Really sad. Really sad. Ready? Let's finish on this. Let's go to Amazon. You go to liver supplements. Okay. You go to the most popular liver supplement, grass-fed. Okay. Supports energy, cleansing, digestion, full body wellness. So I'm going to eat this liver and I'm going to get full body wellness. All right. Let's see who's getting full body wellness here. Let's see who's getting the full body wellness. Full body wellness. I bought this bottle of grass-fed liver capsule about 2 months ago, and I've been taking 4 every day. 2 in the morning, 2 after dinner. I'm almost done with the whole bottle. I have noticed no positive changes, but plenty of negative. Always sick, nausea, vomiting, headache, body ache, fatigue. Why would you keep taking this? I'm pretty sure the supplement lowered my immune system somehow because I've gotten extremely sick 3 times in the past 2 months, and I never get sick. I read on the Ancestral Supplement website how the beef liver supplements might cause side effects, but it's really just symptoms of detox. That's criminal, guys. Are they really putting that on their website? What about putting on your website the scientific known fact in literature that vitamin A toxicity and hypervitaminosis A, and that liver has, I don't know, 10 times the RDA of vitamin A? How about putting that on your website? Liver King, the guy who fucking took for a few years, told us it was liver that made him so jacked. I'm not sure if I believe that because I've been taking these for over 2 months. I eat a healthy diet, whatever that means. I limit my exposure to toxic things. Ironic, liver is the toxic thing. And I take a lot of natural detox measures. I never drink alcohol. I take detox bath. I drink lots of water. 2, possible vitamin A overload. According to the National Institute of Health, getting too much preformed vitamin A, usually from supplements or certain medicines, can cause dizziness, nausea, headaches, coma, and even death. Turns out people age 14 plus are supposed to get around 3,000 IUs, 900 micrograms of vitamin A per day. That's not a lot, guys. That's a small amount. According to Ancestral Supplements website, the beef liver pills contain 5,000 IUs of vitamin A per serving, which is 2,099 IUs over the recommended daily amount. Guys, there are people out there right now supplementing with liver that are fucking slowly getting vitamin A poisoning. Right now, at this moment. At this very moment, right now, there are people out there who are poisoning themselves. My hair wasn't growing as fast. You know how many people's hair is getting thicker on a low vitamin A diet? My hair got way thicker. My hair's gotten so thicker that I went to my barber yesterday and he's like, dude, what are you doing? And this is starting to grow in. This used to all be bald. I'm going to be 40 years old in August and my hair is getting thicker. Aging's not what we thought it was, guys. Aging's not what we thought it was. What else? Hair wasn't going fast. Okay, messed me up good, no warnings. After reading reviews of people throwing up and having headaches and nausea, I became very freaked out when the little bottle arrived. Only decided to break a single capsule in half and try that first. I had absolutely no reaction and tried the other half later in the day. All good. The next day, I tried a whole capsule. Following day, I went to 2, worked my way up to 5. Was not having any reaction to what I had ingested at that point. Was not only hoping soon for massive hit of energy and clarity. Instead, on the early morning after taking the 5 pills, around 4:30, I was awakened to a sour stomach and headache. Over the next hour, this heightened, and I ended up fighting off several attempts for my body to get rid of this stuff until I couldn't hold it back. I threw up 2 separate times and managed to hold it down. This stuff messed me up good, and it kept me in bed the whole day. Who knew? It's another huge, I felt fatigued. My brain felt foggy. Trouble stringing sentences together, remembering certain words. How many people have trouble remembering words? How many people are vitamin A toxic? 1 out of 3. Even at half dose, I felt awful. Go slow or avoid. Please be cautious. If your stomach hurts, take these supplements immediately or you may end up in the hospital. After 15 days of taking this, I ended up in the emergency room and I was admitted in intensive care. It caused me liver damage. Yeah, that's what vitamin A and copper will do. She thought it would be the natural version of Accutane. Took 2 to 4 capsules every 1 to 3 days for 8 weeks and physically kept going downhill, not realizing it's from the capsules. I experienced fatigue like no other, literally felt sedated, drugged, becoming extremely weak for weeks. Horrible stomach issues, lid won't open. That's the best 1-star review so far. 6 capsules a day can cause vitamin A toxicity. These people know. Bad news. Person ended up very sick, digestive issues, felt wired. That's the copper. Felt lightheaded, sore, felt offer. Sought medical help and have received results indicating hyperthyroidism and elevated liver enzymes with no history of either. Wrecked by a liver pill. To all the reviewers complaining of racing heart, brain fog, indigestion, dizziness, fever, imagine with a straight face telling people that liver is good for you. Imagine with a straight face telling people that liver is good for you. Vitamin A toxicity, run, don't walk. Dizziness, sinking feeling, shivering, shuddering. What happened? This is a good one. What happened? These used to work magic for me. Something has changed. I get the worst stomach cramps and nausea now. It's the worst pain I've ever felt. Like verge of going to ER. It's so bad. Had to throw it out. What happened is the honeymoon wore off. That's what happened. The honeymoon wore off and vitamin A toxicity in. Just like a chemical peel, a yellow peel, a vitamin peel can you do need more hair, Stoic Drill Sergeant. Guys, don't be afraid of being hairy. Being hairy, lean into being hairy. Being hairy is a great sign. I'm starting to grow hair on my knuckles again. I'm starting to grow more hair on my hands. I'm loving it because I wasn't always that. Starting to grow hair on my arms more. The hair on my shins came back. I had lost the hair on my shins. If you're a guy out there and your shins have gone bald, you are likely vitamin A toxic. If you're a guy out there who does not have male pattern baldness, it's just thinning, you're likely vitamin A toxic. If you are photosensitive, you're likely vitamin A toxic. If you have migraine headaches, you're likely vitamin A toxic. Stomach pain, terrible insomnia, that's copper. If you have insomnia, you have copper toxicity. Copper is a conductor and it keeps you up. High iron and high copper are how people are getting blasted by EMFs. High iron and high copper are how people are getting blasted from electromagnetic fields. If you have an abundance of conductive metals in your system, that's how you get EMF sensitive. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery. That's the secret. That's the VAX and aluminum and EMF connection. Yeah, you probably are healthy if you have hair everywhere. Maybe there's other things going on. You know, environment loads the gun. Genetics load the gun. Environment pulls the trigger. Right? So you could keep your hair and have migraines and, eczema and psoriasis. Somebody else could express it a different way. I hope that makes sense. Where did we go there? We're not done. Terrible insomnia from the copper. Guys, we are looking at the 1-star reviews of Ancestral Supplements liver. Stomach cramps, increased bathroom. Do not get this. I bought this because I was experiencing fatigue and hair loss. Okay, so this person was already likely vitamin A toxic. That's the problem too with these liver supplements, guys. People are already sick and toxic, and they're just searching for answers. And they see that, this big jack guy comes on and says it's nature's multivitamin, and they think they're going to fix themselves with it. Yeah, if you have migraines, that's a sign of toxicity. The second week, I felt ill and smelled awful. I was so sick in bed. Gut discomfort and inflammation. Unfortunately, a no for me. This is just the second page. Don't buy made me very sick and it's not returnable. Thought I had food poisoning 3 times in 1 month. Started to take these to help with anemia. She's already vitamin A toxic. She's got an iron issue. Didn't notice improvement, but did randomly get what I thought was food poisoning 3 times in 1 month. Fever, nausea, severe stomach pain, diarrhea. Those are all the symptoms of vitamin A toxicity. So sad. I got very sick. Burns my stomach. On carnivore diet and will not eat liver. Can't even fathom doing it. Bought these, but after the first try, they upset my stomach so bad. Waste of money for me. Hey, at least you found out early, T. Carney. Water retention and constipation. Doesn't work. Scam. I didn't realize this was a Liver King product. No wonder it doesn't work. Look it up and stay away from the products. I don't know what that means. Caution, stay from the supplement. I purchased this product after reading reviews and wanted to get some of the benefits they were claiming, but let me tell you, read all of the 1-star ratings first and not the 5-star ratings. I took 3 caps. That's another thing, guys. If you're going to Amazon and you go straight to the 5-star reviews, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. You go straight to the 5-star reviews when you first read a supplement. Those are mostly people who are leaving that day 1, week 1, week 2. Terrible skin reaction from the liver supplement. Purchased these advice of a noted physician in the keto community. Wonder who that was. In anticipation of my planned switch from strict keto to a carnivore diet in the first year. I've been living a keto lifestyle for roughly 20 months with periods of a more heavily carnivore diet periodically and wanted to supplement with natural vitamins that would be easily absorbed as this product advertised. I started with a lower dose as recommended, but over the next couple of weeks, my skin went from mildly irritated and dry, already has vitamin A toxicity with dry skin, which I first assumed was just seasonal winter dry skin, to a full-blown itchy rash as I increased the number of pills each day. So this is why these liver sellers, they have to put disclaimers. Don't believe the hype. My body is off. Stomach cramps, gas, bloating. Threw it out. Extreme pain. This person thinks they got a bad batch. Doesn't tell what happened to them, though. Yeah, look. Arthritis, Hashimoto's, IBS. This person already has vitamin A toxicity. Guys, vitamin A will destroy your thyroid. Vitamin A will destroy your intestinal lining. Vitamin A, retinoic acid, will destroy your joints and calcify you. Not the slightest sign of improvement. Pregnancy, oh my God. Pregnancy, do not take. I'm 37-week pregnant with low iron. I figured this would help me to get my levels back to normal. I was taking 1 capsule a day. My first night of taking it, I got a really bad rash in my belly that spread to the rest of my body, followed by feeling fatigue all day and insomnia. I stopped taking it once I realized. I hope that lady's baby was all right. Can you reply to this and ask her if her baby was okay? I requested refund. I had a reaction to this product, not for me. Normal 1-star review. Should be illegal. Should be illegal. I bought 3 different ones from this company, had 1 pill from each bottle, and it completely messed up my stomach. It has been months, and not a moment goes by that my gut isn't suffering. Hospitalized. I bought this product about a year ago and took 1 dosage of it and became extremely ill for roughly 2 days before I finally decided to go to the hospital because I was becoming delirious from not being able to keep down fluids, vomiting and diarrhea with a fever for a couple of days. How is liver good for you? How is liver good for you? How? We are on the 3rd page. 3rd page of 1-star reviews of a liver supplement. 3 people have been hospitalized. After taking 2 of these, 1 a day for 2 days, I experienced what I can only describe as the eye of mortar in my stomach, literal evil attempting to exit my body. Stomach cramps, bloating, gas, and Hershey squirts. Initially, I thought maybe it was the pancakes I ate for breakfast. Said no one ever. I've written an apology letter to my yoga instructor. Quote, I'm sorry I unleashed hell whilst everyone was deep breathing in downward dog multiple times. I blame the beef liver. I've taken crop dusting to a whole new level. Please know that if these pills do not agree with your body, then be prepared for many days of butt puckers and many nights of regretful Dutch ovens until your body can expel the evil. This girl can't get the bottle open. Huh. Well, you got lucky. You had a guardian angel. You're the first. Couldn't get the bottle open. You saved your life. Made me dizzy and anxious. If you want to feel like you're dying, this product made me horribly sick. On day 7, my first day taking 3 capsules, I developed, are we seeing a common theme here? I developed moderate, severe upper abdominal pain that radiated to my back, constant nausea, when then turned to profuse vomiting and severe muscle pain. Not even close to DV or weekly. All right, I'm not a scientist, but it's recommended for any actual benefits to take a minimum of 100 grams of beef liver a week. This serving of 6 pills gives you 3,000 milligrams a day. So you would have to consume about 200 pills a week at minimum. That's 28.5 pills a day, AKA for bare minimum. This is a ripoff as the per bottle benefit is concerned. This guy's mad he didn't get more of it. Man, you got people getting sick from one pill. This guy says this is a ripoff because you're supposed to take. This guy thinks you're supposed to have 100 grams of beef liver a week. I wonder where he is now, Riff Weasel. Bottle won't open. Another guardian angel. Someone was looking out for you. I was hopeful. But then stomach feels heavy, head feels foggy, faint, nausea, same things. All vitamin A toxicity. You are witnessing in live time. Lid won't open. You got saved by a guardian angel, Francisco. Francisco, one of your guardian angels was looking over you so that you couldn't open up a bottle of poison. Leaves brown spots. This product started leaving brown spots on my body. When I quit taking, the spots went away. Could not get a refund. Man, so this guy isn't even giving people refunds on this. This guy's not even refunding people after he destroys them. I feel like doom. I take 1 pill for 2 days in a row. I feel like doom as I type this. Anxiety, heart racing, heartburn, sour stomach, stomach pain, digestive discomfort, dizzy, irritable, lack of energy, brain fog. Just feel all around sick and weird. I felt off yesterday too. Please read the 1-star reviews and don't make my mistake. Do not buy this product. I hate this product. What a waste of money. I want to return this garbage to its company. Another one who had anemia, so she had vitamin A toxicity. Only took 1 in the morning, felt sick, stomach upset, palpitations. Grass-fed beef liver. What is this guy? I received a bottle of grass-fed beef liver supplements by Brian Johnson yesterday. When I received the item, isn't this funny? The Liver King's name is Brian Johnson, and the other anti-aging guru's name is Brian Johnson with a Y. What is going on? And they both love vitamin A. Yo, what is going on that you got the carnivore gurus who are selling you the high vitamin A, and then you got the vegan gurus like Brian Johnson selling you the high vitamin A? Thor, you can search keyword in the comments for ones that mention vitamin A. What, on Amazon? But we're having so much fun. 1,224 people in the building. So this guy doesn't want to take the product because he's being sued. Why is Brian Johnson being sued? Why is the Liver King being sued, guys? Liver King being sued. Huh. Did you guys know that the Liver King was being sued? I didn't know that the Liver King was being sued. Like, comment, subscribe. We need to get some more YouTube. Viral 25 million Liver King lawsuit finished. The way I see it, Johnson's followers were truly duped. They wanted to be duped. An industry attorney said after a lawsuit against Liver King and two of his companies was dismissed. Whoa. Damn, Liver King. Your lawyer said that their customers wanted to be duped? Psh. Guy requests his 25 mil. Harm from deceptive supplement advertising and market practices. So this guy wants to get money because basically he's saying that the Liver King said it was steroids. Man, that's the wrong angle to come from the lawsuit, bro. You should have come from the angle that it put you in the fucking emergency room like these people. Don't buy into the hype. Here's another person. Mood very irritable, which is stomach ache. You're seeing all the classic signs of vitamin A toxicity, guy. Liver problems will make you irritable and angry. Liver problems are the reason the divorce rate is so high. Yeah, vitamin A has to do with the obesity rate and the divorce rate. Because when your liver is all screwed up and toxic, you're a toxic human and you have toxic relationships. It's that simple. When you have a happy, clean liver, you're a happy, clean person and you get along with other people and you don't get into toxic situations or toxic relationships. Gives me indigestion. Don't buy bottled sealed shut. Rachel, you had a guardian angel. They were looking over you. Defective item. Bottom another. Diane Shi, you had a guardian angel. Your life was saved. Because Adrienne, she wasn't as lucky. She got stomach discomfort. Okay. Sewell Tamara, not as lucky as you, Angel. Diane Shi. Because Sewell got nausea and fatigue. Vitamin A toxicity. If you're out there with fatigue every day, addicted to caffeine and NPC, Starbucks, you're paying $8 for a cup of pesticides. Not only the ones they spray with it, but the pesticides of the plant. No real changes here. Really displeased. H. pylori. A lot of people are getting H. pylori somehow. Read 1-star reviews. Defective, glued shut, and non-refundable. Kanobi Desai, you had a guardian angel. Guardian angel saved your life. No details on exact minerals. Okay, here's a smart person. The issue with this product is there's literally zero information available on the exact vitamins and minerals that are in one supplement. What is this? Yes. I might have to take this phone call. Y'all. Badly upset stomach. Company doesn't care and will not return. Damn. Not only are they not telling you that you can get vitamin A toxicity from taking their liver supplements, once you call them or hit them up and be like, yo, I got vitamin A toxicity, they're like, not our problem. Worst allergic reaction. It made me very ill, and also it arrived late. Tracy Wagner. Not impressed. Unable to open bottle. Guardian angel. Terrible gas, stomach pain. Glorified snake oil. Made me so sick I was in bed for 3 days. Too much copper, not good during pregnancy. Very good, Bethany. Damn, bro. Damn. She took this during one of her pregnancies and her child born was with birth defect. Fuck, man. This is real life, guys. This is real life. It wasn't just the copper, Bethany. It was the vitamin A. This is real life, guys. This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. That's a crime. That's a crime, guys. That's permanent. If you get vitamin A toxicity as a grown person, you can go on a low vitamin A diet and you can get better. If you are telling pregnant women to take it and their child has a birth defect, that's permanent damage, man. That's permanent freaking damage, dude. We got to put disclaimers on this shit. We're going to end the live stream. We're going to end the live stream on that note. That's too messed up. That's too messed up. Yep. That's too messed up. We're going to end the live stream, folks, at 1,247 live viewers, 2 hours in, one of ones. And we'll see you next Thursday. Like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube. We're going to be doing this every Thursday. And spread the word. Spread the word about vitamin A toxicity. Spread the word about copper. Spread the word about all these supplements causing liver damage. Spread the word about your health nut friends doing too much. You know, enough is enough. The train has gone off the rails, and people are just out here playing guessing games with other human beings' lives, and there has to be some regulators. There has to be some people, and if you are a ethical, conscious human and you see what's going on, you got to speak up about it. And if you're defending the liver people after seeing what we just showed, how do you look at yourself in the mirror? You know, this isn't some clickbait shit or some joke or some this isn't that. This is like people getting into the ER and babies being born with birth defects. The reason I started shining the light on Paul Saladino is because someone sent me an email. He had an email to pregnant women saying it's perfectly fine to take liver if you take it in a small dose. If that woman's already vitamin A toxic, it doesn't matter the dose. It's fat soluble. If that vitamin A is already accumulated in that human, any amount will do them in. Any amount. All right, over and out. The army's growing. Let's level up. We'll see you next week, everybody.